Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of October 11th, 2015. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It's a big week. I told you last week that everything that's happening then is actually going to really come through in a big way this week as well. You can't understand this week without the context of last week. So I will encourage you to maybe watch the introduction again from last week to get a better picture of what it is that is coming up ahead. But it really is very exciting. This week, we have the first of 3 supremely harmonious conversations that are going to take place between Jupiter and Pluto. Now, this doesn't happen too often. So we could say like in a 12-year Jupiter cycle, Jupiter will have this type of conversation twice with Pluto. And when this conversation takes place, sometimes there's only one, but sometimes it comes with a group of 3, as is the case right about now. So we've got both of these planets in Earth signs. Jupiter right now moving through the sign of Virgo, speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto. This really is a power move. This can be a power move on your part, a move towards manifestation, of aligning work with vision, work with life purpose. But really, if you think about, and I would encourage you, watch it again if you haven't already, or watch it for the first time, the Jupiter special horoscopes that I did. This is one of those high moments. This is one of those breakthrough moments that can take place that can really allow the promise of Jupiter to come through in a big way. This is adding a lot of intensity and a lot of power to the blessings that Jupiter is promising us. And so this is really a time to tap into where it is that Jupiter is trying to bless your life. So again, if you have that understanding already, you watched the Jupiter special already, awesome. Just know that this is one of those peak moments when all that is good that Jupiter is going to try to bring into your life is going to be amplified right about now. This can bless your life in a lot of different ways depending on your sign. But again, breakthrough moment, power move really is the real encapsulating phrase of what this means. And it is understanding that blessings have a way of not just coming and going, but there's a way to channel whatever energy is available to you. There's a way to take whatever blessings are available to you and maximize them so that they transform your life in ways that you like, in some very fundamental ways. Now, the exception to this is the fact that we're having a new moon right around the same time. So what happens during a new moon? The sun and the moon meet in the sky. They do this once every 28.5 days. So they're meeting this time in the sign of Libra. But not only that, both of these planets, or rather both of these luminaries, are standing across the sky from Uranus, okay? This is, really that factor that seems to come out of nowhere. This is that surprise that just kind of catches you off guard. I spoke about this in the monthly horoscopes for most signs. I think every sign, actually, I spoke about this because it is that important a celestial occurrence. Having said that, though, when I look at this particular conversation happening pretty much simultaneously with this conversation between Jupiter and Pluto. And you add to this that the sun stands across Uranus only once a year. So the sun only one time every year will stand across Uranus in the sky. And this is that time. And this time the sun is doing it with the moon, right? Amplifying the emotional intensity of the moment. To me, this suggests that a brand new beginning is likely to find us, again, in at least one area of life. And it might come out of nowhere. And to be really honest with you, it might feel like, oh, I didn't want that to happen, okay? So it might feel a little bit undesirable. But if you give it a moment, very quickly you will see the opportunity. Very quickly you can see how it is that you can create lasting and meaningful, truly meaningful change in your life. And if you allow yourself to, right, get over the little bit of surprise, get over that, where did that come from? I didn't see that coming. To get over that moment, then you will see how actually this is the universe trying to get you to make some changes that in many cases are long overdue. So my advice when I see a sky like this, and I have seen this again and again, and this is why I say the universe is wise and loving, and that there's a mystery playing out. I spoke about this last week as well. We don't always know how it is until we get way in the future, until we look in hindsight, how it is that the universe is working on our behalf, especially when we go through moments that seem challenging or tough, or maybe just downright unfair. I'm one to I do acknowledge that, the world, our experience, the world that we have created has in it things that are not fair, things that are cruel, things that are unjust. But having said that, there are these moments that come about that allow us to understand, to get a glimpse into how whatever it is that has happened has actually been benefiting us in some way. That whatever it is that has happened, we can choose to allow it to move us towards greater love and greater wisdom or not, okay? So this is one of those moments, and this is one of those choice moments. I think this week is going to be that huge choice moment where it's like, okay, the game has changed. Things are adjusting, surprise elements, people, places, opportunities, situations, all of a sudden are changing dramatically. Now, what are you going to do? Are you going to choose love and wisdom and see the transformative power of that in your life or not? It's very much going to be a choice, but I'll tell you, if you choose to gently, or if you choose to allow yourself to maybe get over a little bit of the surprise for just a moment, and then choose to instead focus in on, okay, now what's possible for me? This has changed. The universe is saying, doesn't matter what you want, you got to start again in this area of life. Okay, so now what could I do? How can I be better because of this? And this is going to be the time when things start that will reap great blessings in the not so distant future. Before Jupiter is done moving through the sign of Virgo, many people are going to go through some very important changes that will stay with them for many, many years to come in some cases as well. So this is one of those weeks. It can be a turning point week for a lot of us out there. Now, if you were born, right around the 10th of the month, okay, regardless of your sign, if you were born right around the 10th of the month, this is going to speak to you that much more personally. This new moon is going to speak to you that much more profoundly. However, every sign out there will have, and every person out there, regardless of when your birthday is going to have their moment of awareness, and will certainly have their moment of blessing as well. And the blessing part of it becomes that much more magnified if you were born right around the 4th or the 5th of the month. So the closer you are to one of those birthdays, regardless of what month, the more you will feel these different conversations. But again, everyone's going to benefit. Everyone will have an awareness. Everyone will say, okay, that's how it is. I get it. Now I know what needs to change. Everyone will have that in some way, and that change will be extremely positive. So moving on to some other stuff, because it's a very active celestial week taking place for us. Let's talk about Venus, because Venus late last week, ended shadow. I was very excited about that. But I also mentioned at that time that even though Venus has ended shadow and is now officially, that whole Venus retrograde season is now done, we actually are now going to move forward, okay? And this month is going to bring a few wrap-up moments, if you will. It's like moments that say, okay, I learned that, now I'm going to live it. Now I'm going to demonstrate it. Now I'm going to prove it. You had all these experiences. All of us in some way went through a journey with this Venus retrograde season. Now it's about taking it a step further. Now it's about understanding where you go next. And this is thanks to a couple of conversations that Venus is going to be having that really are sort of the last of three. So Venus had some key conversations happening with Uranus. All three are done. With Saturn, early this week, the last of three as part of this season will happen. And then later this month, the final kind of cherry on top, that moment forward, is going to be Venus meeting Jupiter in the sky later on this month. And of course, I'll be here to talk about it at that time. But the fact that this is taking place now, and Venus will not only be speaking with Saturn, but it will also stand across, this week will stand across Neptune in the sky as well. Now, this to me suggests that Venus is speaking with that with that Saturn-Neptune square. So I talked about this a little bit in a video that I did. I'll be talking about this more in an upcoming video, hopefully very, very soon, because a lot of you have been asking me about the migrant crisis and things like that. So I am really looking, I have a lot of thoughts. I've been making a lot of notes. So hopefully that video will be available to you guys soon. But it's interesting to me that Venus is going to be kind of highlighting, amplifying, bringing some love to this very conversation that is going to peak very soon and that's going to be with us for many months to come. So Venus is going to speak with Saturn, speak with Neptune. This is about checking your reality versus your fantasy. This is about being honest with yourself. This is about being real with yourself where it comes to money and where it comes to love in particular. This is goddess of love after all. Where is it that you've been overindulgent? Where is it maybe that you've been holding yourself back? Whether it's, again, love or money. And sometimes the answer might surprise you. Uranus is active right about now, so there's lots of surprising answers in the air. And I think that the answer might actually surprise you. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times people think, well, okay, you know, I have been having some concerns about money, so this is my reality to tighten things up. But sometimes that's not it. It really depends on where this conversation is playing out in your unique birth chart, yes, but also based on your sign, your sun sign, moon sign, or rising sign as well. The rising sign speaks more to your birth chart. It depends on where this conversation is taking place, because a lot of times it isn't that we need to rein it in, right? Sometimes, yes, that is the case. We're being overindulgent. We're not, you know, watching our own energy and channeling it wisely. And that can sometimes manifest with, you know, some shopping issues. But having said that, sometimes this energy can actually manifest in different ways. So it isn't so much about reining it in. It is about checking your own beliefs around prosperity, your own beliefs around your deservedness, and your own beliefs about what it is that you are able to receive. What are you going to allow in your life? The state of worthiness that will allow you to have whatever it is that you believe that you want. So where is that disconnect? And this can actually give us that clarity. This week can give us that clarity and can really help us understand the direction in which we are meant to go that much better, and help us to understand that sometimes reining it in isn't necessarily about spending, but sometimes it's about how we're thinking. But I do want to say that if there's been any relationship dynamic where you have felt that you've been the one giving, and the other person has not as much, this is going to be that very obvious moment that, okay, wait, I'm doing way more than this other person, and this is not feeling right. So this is an important week. For some people, it will be an important week in the context of love as well. We also have Mercury. Mercury will be sort of holding still a conversation. I spoke about this last week. I said this week, Mercury now newly direct is still in hold, moving in conversation in harmony with Saturn in the sky. And so this suggests that we get the proverbial it. We can have that intellectual understanding of what needs to happen, of what we can do, of the smart choice forward. We know who to talk to, we know what to say, or at least we summon the willingness to talk or to speak so that we can further ground ourselves in a more mature vision of where it is that we're going. And we ensure that our interactions are patient. Patience, grasshopper, right? This is great for helping us with all of this, you know, unpredictable energy. This is so good for helping us to remember to be patient and kind and to understand that sometimes some things, yes, there's actions to take, but sometimes some things you just got to let them resolve on their own. Totally like kind of related example. I was talking about this again on social media with you guys. My phone was really wonky last week, my phone and email. And I was saying, you know, this Mercury retrograde has, you know, all these wonky things happening. And I thought, okay, I could take this phone in and get it serviced and all that. But I knew, I was like, you know what? I tapped into that Mercury sextiling, speaking in harmony with Saturn. I said, you know what? I think this is going to resolve itself. And in a couple of days, that's exactly what happened. It resolved itself. So it's that kind of thing where we understand where it is to take action and where it is that you've just got to let things play out the way that they need to without being too attached and kind of trusting the divine wisdom that's playing out that you might not necessarily be aware of in this moment. You might never be aware of as well. Like, why was it that your phone acted up just when there was a call that you really would have liked to take, but then you couldn't take that call? You know, like, you think about it sort of like as a domino effect, and how, in retrospect, if you think about those moments that had that small things, had that domino effect, how ultimately you became better off because of it. So this is one of those times to trust and be patient. Finally, Mars. Mars is really hanging out close, getting in close with Jupiter in the sky. So we are going to have Mars speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto and meeting Jupiter in the sky. So Mars is sort of adding a determinedness energy to what is taking place, this conversation that's taking place between Jupiter and Pluto. So this is adding a sense of urgency, a sense of direction, a sense of, you know, I have got to do this and I've got to do this right now, of being, you know, what is it that gives you juice? What is it that fires you up in the best possible sense, right? What is it that you know you want to change, and you've got to bring your A game, you've got to bring your enthusiasm, and you've got to bring faith with action. So I really like that, this particular Mars stepping into the picture, and this will really be the only time that Mars, I believe, and I could be wrong about that, I got to check my ephemeris, but at least with this conversation that Pluto is having with Jupiter, Mars is part of that picture. And so given that Mars is adding sort of fire to the fuel, fuel to the fire, it does suggest to me that what it is that begins now is going to begin with a sense of conviction, a sense of certainty, and that in turn will allow us to make some smart choices that will further develop later on down the road. Well, thank you so much for watching the introduction to this week. I'm so grateful for it. Just a little bit of updates. Last week I mentioned SOTA, right? The SOTA conference. It has been an amazing space. It has meant so much to me. I've gone like just about every year since I became like full-time, dedicated myself to astrology just over 9 years ago. And it has been such an incredible and important space for so many people. I love the organizer, Donna Van Toen, and I've actually interviewed her for my show. I've recorded lots of episodes from SOTA as well. And so that's part of my online show, Synchronicity. So I am not able to go this year. I'm very sad about that. But essentially what's happening is I'm going to be at an astrology conference in Mexico City. And a lot of you guys have actually been emailing me and asking me for more Spanish language content. So I got to see that through, right? You guys give me the best ideas always. So that is really the reason why I'm not going to be with my Astro family this time, but still I will be with Astro family in Mexico City. So that's the Inastrome conference. And if you're around in Mexico City, it would be lovely to meet you. This is happening the weekend of the 23rd. So I will be in Mexico City. And if you like a reading as well while I'm in Mexico City, please do feel free to connect with me through my website, nadiyashah.com. Having said that, I can't go to SOTA. I love SOTA. If you're one of those people who goes to SOTA and is used to seeing me there, I love you so much. And my hope is that my not being able to go means that someone else is going to get to experience this conference, because I'm giving my pass away. So I have what's called the deluxe package pass, conference pass. The conference takes place in Buffalo, New York, and it includes access to all the lectures and activities that are happening as part of the conference from Thursday night right through to Sunday early in the day. It doesn't include any pre-conference events, any luncheons, doesn't include food or transportation or hotel, but it is valued at $300 USD, and I'm offering it to people out there who know that they can go, okay? So please, I would love for you to enter. One person will be chosen randomly this week, and I'll announce that person. We'll contact that person first, announce that person on social media, announce that person in next week's horoscope as well. So please do go online to my website. In my newsletter as well, I spoke about, you know, everything you need to know about entering the contest. And just know that it is an amazing experience. So if you know that you can readily and freely be available the weekend of the 23rd of October, so it's like 2 weeks from now, and you know that you can be there, then please, yeah, if you haven't experienced it or you have, please do enter the contest. If you want, or if you don't win, and if you enter, you can still go, right? If you know that you can be in the Buffalo, New York area, you still would be very welcome at the SOTA conference. I am sure of that. And everybody really is. It's like it's a great sized conference. Everyone meets everyone. Lots of love, lots of support, lots of learning, lots of brilliant astrologers as well. I'm going to miss you guys so, so much and hope to see you next year for sure. So yes, please use the contact form on my website. Make that happen for yourself. And I wish you very, very good luck. If you can't be in Mexico City, just meet me in person and have a reading done, a consultation done. Please do consider a personalized horoscope. I love interacting with you guys on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, my website, nadiyashah.com, and the YouTube comments as well. The personalized horoscopes take a look at your unique birth chart, talk about what's happening solely for you, uniquely for you. So I now have 3 new areas of focus: luck and love, luck and money and success, and life purpose. And you guys are really loving those new focuses. So thank you so much for that and the amazing, amazing feedback. I'm going to be really honest here for a moment. I'm always really honest with you guys. There have been a lot of orders lately, and I love you guys for your trust. It means so much to me. I mean, my heart is so full of gratitude. Thank you. So essentially, because there have been a lot of orders, there's a 2-month option, which is the lowest price option, and then there's a 2-week and a 2-day option. It's the 2-month options that are running a little bit behind schedule, about a week to 10 days in some cases, and that's really because of the volume of orders. And I'm trying to, I love sharing things with you guys. My mission is to affirm that the universe is wise and loving. That is my mission in the world. And so I'm always trying to think of new ways, exciting ways, what really gives me energy to share that mission with you in new and different ways. And you may have noticed that I haven't just had time to really give to developing Synchronicity University at the pace that I had hoped to, because there have been such amazing sales, thank you, and all the other things that have been happening as part of my work. So I just want to say that if you know that you want your reading by Christmas Eve, I would encourage you to place your order now. If you know that you want to give it as a gift to somebody, I would encourage you to place your order like as soon as possible or this week. I'll let you know when the deadline is, like when I say, okay, you have to order by this day to have it by New Year's Eve. And then there'll be a future deadline that says, okay, you have to order by this day if you want it by New Year's Eve. So Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, I'll let you know of those deadlines. And then the 2-month option is going to be paused for a little while, so it won't be available for a little while. Still, for a little while, I'll be offering the 2-week and the 2-day options. They'll still be up, and we'll see how that goes, right? Life is an experiment. But I do want to be fair with you guys, and I do want to let you know well in advance what is going on there. And it's really so that I can share some very exciting things with you. I can find that right balance between being of service and honoring your requests, and at the same time thinking of new ways to share my mission. And I'm looking forward to all the amazing things that will be shared with you in the weeks ahead as well. And again, my heart is full. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Thank you so much for your trust. It means everything. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Please give a thumbs up. It really does help. I was recently told, you should tell people to give a thumbs up because it does help the video a lot, and I appreciate that so much. So how all of this wonderful stuff, there's so much wonderful stuff happening this week, how this big celestial adventure is speaking to you and your sign is coming up right now. Hello, fabulous Aries. This week, your ruling planet Mars, very busy in the sky, very active in the sky, speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto and meeting Jupiter. I think that this is going to be one of those really standout weeks for you, really important weeks for you as well, where you are going to start to feel stronger and clearer about yourself, yes, in some very key ways, but more importantly, your life and how you are living. So this has to do with the work that you're doing, the space that you go to when you do work, the routines that you hold kind of day in and day out, but also on a level of health as well. This can be one transformative week. And I think that there are going to be some Aries out there who are going to be looking at themselves very differently, looking at one key thing that you do and say, oh, wow, okay, this might not be what I need to be doing anymore. This might not be a habit that I want to continue, and making a very clear and purposeful change as a result. And I think others of you are just going to like stumble onto that little change that they can make in their eating or in their routines as far as their fitness goes, just to feel better than before. And for others, as I said, workplace, this also can work itself very much in the workplace, where I think that that space itself, you're going to start feeling more and more in your element, more and more that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, that this feels right and natural and fun for you, that it makes you feel strong, knowing that you are good at this and acknowledged as good at it. If you're one of those Aries out there who's actually looking for work or hoping to make changes, this can be an amazing week where those power moves can certainly have a long-lasting effect. For others of you, if you're self-employed, this can be a wonderful time of attracting some really big wig clients, like big deal clients, attracting these people into your life who will be supporters now and very likely for a very long time to come. And the type of supporters that not only will bring you opportunity now, but again, will bring you even bigger opportunities further down the road. The relationships you form now, the professional relationships that you form now, are the kind that can have the promise and hold the potential to allow you to experience greater success and greater wealth in the not so distant future. Where it comes to love, it really is all about this new moon. So we've got this new moon happening in your opposite sign. I spoke about this in the love-focused horoscope. Really, where it comes to love, it is your sign and also the sign of Gemini. These are the two signs that are going to be most affected in the realm of love. But for you in particular, I would put you first and then Gemini second. And I would say that for you, this has to do with partnership. This has to do with the one-on-one committed relationships you have. So some are going to experience this in love. Most will experience this in love. Some in the context of a business relationship. Regardless, this is going to be that moment where you go, oh, I didn't know that about you. Oh, wow, I really did not see that coming. Oh, I didn't know you've been married 6 times already. I didn't know. Like I see that kind of feeling coming up, like seemingly out of nowhere. But it really could go either way, right? This is a reality check in love kind of week as well. So it really could go either way. It's nothing, I mean, look, ultimately it's about a brand new beginning. It's about a fresh start. And so if you need that in the context of the relationship you have, you will get that. If your relationship is not so strong, this is going to be that awareness that makes you go, okay, I got to go another way. But sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it is that you have that awareness and you have that willingness to work it out. You see where maybe that person might have been clear with you all along, but you weren't listening. So all of these are potentials to come up in the realm of love. If you are single, open to meeting somebody new, then this can be a time when you have one of those moments, one of those attractions and one of those interactions that really shows you something about who you are, your expectations, and also if you have any barriers where it comes to love as well, where it is that maybe you need to free yourself a little bit in the context of love. Not a lot of stability energy, okay? So I have a feeling like if you're single and open to meeting somebody new, you might meet somebody and the energy is electric and it feels amazing. But at the same time, this person, you know, like I like to say, sometimes people, they say like, you know, I'm not a commitment person, you know, but they want all the advantages of being in a committed relationship without actually, while saying that, you know, I've been honest with you all along, I'm not into commitment. So you've got to watch that. You've got to watch those signals, those signs, and make sure that you are being honest with yourself about what this person is telling you about who they are. And who they are is about them. It really has nothing to do with you and who you are as well. So keep it about your learning, keep it about your lessons. Someone could be a powerful mirror to you right about now to show you what's really going on with you on a level of heart, on a level of love, as part of preparing you for even bigger and even better love, which certainly is possible for you. And especially a week like this, love will certainly be an adventure and a surprise, a moment. Hello, fabulous Taurus. This week we have got your ruling planet Venus speaking with Saturn, speaking with Neptune, not necessarily the most harmonious conversations. And while we have Venus doing this, I want to say, look, first and foremost, these conversations aren't easy, yes, but the energy will change very quickly. Once we get you into next week, the energy shifts in powerful ways. I'll be here to talk about it then. You're feeling much stronger, much clearer, and a real sense of your own worth, a real sense of what it is that you can value in yourself and what it is that you really want in the realm, especially of love, but also in terms of what you're trying to make more of. What do you want to grow in your life? What do you want to create? All of these are going to be up for discussion, and some really important, wonderful blessings, big power moves happening for you next week in particular. But at least this week, I think that on the one hand, there'll be a part of you that's feeling, because of all the things Jupiter is doing, there'll be a part of you that is feeling strong, that is feeling clear, especially in the realm of your creativity. But then there's going to be this other part of you that I see a little bit at conflict, a little bit uncertain, wondering to yourself if this is really, if this is real, if you're making the right choice, if you're seeing what you want, if you're seeing things that are really negative, but they're really not. Like, it's almost like there's some second guessing going on there. So where it comes to, now this is going to play out for a lot of you in the realm of love, okay? So if you are in an established bond, I mean, this is a time where it's like, okay, are we going to be grown-ups or not? It's that type of moment. For others of you, if you are just dating someone, you're going to feel this energy most. And this is going to be, you know, again, is this long-term potential here? Is this person, like I just said to the Aries a moment ago, you know, is this person telling you, look, I am not into commitment, I'm not, you know, into that, but they want all the benefits of that? You will have that moment of honesty for yourself. But for others of you, I do also think that, especially if you are open to meeting someone new, there's a lot of hope, and that's great, right? There's a really high energy, there's optimism happening, but your actual experiences from the past and also currently right now, if you allow the past to color too much of what you're seeing, then I think that those changes that need to happen, right? Those power moves that you certainly could be making, you won't be fully embracing them just yet. But there is the potential there. There certainly is the potential there to meet somebody and have a very strong connection, a powerful connection, a transformative connection at that. But it is going to take you a little bit of time, a little bit of a moment to sort of overcome your own resistance and your own past disappointments as well. But play it slow, take it slow. If you feel it, that's awesome. But the energy now is saying, consider the big picture. As much as a part of you might say, okay, let's just live for the day. If you consider the big picture, you will end up being led in a direction that I think that will feel much better to you. And as I said, when we look outside of love, yes, love is a big theme this week, but we've also got lots of creative energy, lots of brilliance on offer to you, and a real determination to turn your passion into a source of great wealth for yourself. So pay attention to your ideas. This is certainly a time when the universe is going to be pointing the way to your big break, to your big breakthroughs, to your power moves. And it's about you listening and summoning that determination to do what needs to be done so that you see that vision through fruition now, this week, and in the coming months to come. Hello, fabulous Gemini. This week, your ruling planet, Mercury, is holding steady with Saturn, which suggests that you are one of the more steady people this week, considering all the adventure that's happening celestially in the sky. So we've got you feeling at your core very stable, very secure, very steady, and yet there may be some drama going on around you, particularly in the context of matters of heart, matters of love. And when I look at this particular new moon, which is speaking most strongly to your love experience, your love reality right about now, it looks like there are lots of surprises. Now, these are going to be very flirtation based or dating based. Okay, so this is going to speak more to those people who are open to meeting someone new, or if you are dating someone, just getting to know someone. This energy is going to speak that much more strongly to you, where just out of the blue, you might end up having a flirtation that takes you very much by surprise, that sort of takes you a little bit off guard as well. Then you have to decide, where do you want to go with this? What is it that you're going to do with it? Well, I really like, as I said, the steadiness, right, that you're having, because it does suggest that you're making decisions from an intelligent place. Now, because of how this new moon is playing out, because of how Venus is playing out as well, I'll tell you, I am going to invite you, advise you to be a little bit careful, okay? Especially if you are spending any time with family, and if there's anyone drinking, if there's any drinking involved, because this could, okay, for a small percentage of you, you're going to have to be really cautious around family members, you know, like in-laws and things like that. Maybe having a little bit too much to drink, maybe trying to, like, you know, push some boundaries, if you will, because people's judgment might be a little bit off right around now, especially if you're getting together for family events. And again, especially if you're around like in-laws and not blood family, but connected to blood family type of people. So you just want to watch that. But having said that, it does look like at least one flirtation catches you completely off guard, but hopefully it'll be in a good way. Hopefully it won't be that, you know, your second cousin's husband is, you know, whatever. So you can have this go in a very positive direction. But also what we have happening, of course, is this very harmonious conversation between Jupiter and Pluto that I absolutely am so excited about. I know a lot of people are. And for you in particular, this is speaking to matters of home being made that much stronger, being made that much more stable as well, and making some really smart moves, some really good judgments as well on your part. So even though Mercury is now still in shadow and going forward, I would advise you, this is a time, put out some feelers. This could be a really good time to invest in real estate, especially if you're looking to make money, and especially if you are considering selling as well, or you need to get a mortgage. This is a time when you've got lots of celestial help to make that happen for you, to know where you can go. But not only that, to make it happen very quickly for you as well. Mars is involved this week, and so it does suggest that things move quickly. You might be hustling a little bit, trying to make certain deals happen, but they certainly can lead you in directions that are much richer. Those of you in an established bond, as I said, the energy I'm seeing play out is speaking largely to those who are open to love or just getting to know somebody. But those of you who are in an established bond, I'm just seeing this like interaction, this conversation, like, okay, where are we going with this? What are we doing with this? Is something positive going to come about here? Can we move forward in a way that allows us to enjoy our lives and not have it be so humdrum, so predictable? And that is something that every Gemini absolutely hates, for things to get a little bit too predictable. You've got to have lots of new ideas, new activities, new stimulations, new ways to look at things to keep you interested in just about anything, including matters of heart. So this could be a time when you have that key conversation. How can we have more fun with what it is that we're doing and how we're moving forward? And that plan can ensure that your love stays stable and strong. Hello, fabulous Cancer. This week we have got such an active sky, speaking very actively in key areas of your chart. On the one hand, siblings, cousins, neighbors, highlighted right about now. And I would just caution you a little bit. This is not the week for allowing a sibling or cousin to set you up on a blind date. This is not the week for allowing yourself to go a little bit further with a neighbor than you might otherwise, just because the energy and the way that it's playing out right now is suggesting that making those types of moves might lead to a sense of disappointment. It might lead to like inflated expectations that are like they come down with a thud, or grounded with a thud. So next week, okay, is a much better climate. So if you have somebody saying to you, if you have a family member saying to you, oh, I met this perfect person, would be so good for you, great, but maybe just hold off a little bit. Just give it another week if you can, before that initial meeting happens, and just take it with a grain of salt, have some fun with it. But for all that, we do have playing out right now this very harmonious conversation between Jupiter and Pluto, along with a very powerful, important particular moon, new moon playing out in a part of the sky for you that's happening right at home base. So quick changes around home matters could happen right about now. Quick moves, sudden developments, a sudden need for repairs, all possible right about now. This also could be the insight that, you know, you're ready to move on, begin again. And so there's a awareness factor, a quickness factor, knowing when you're done, knowing where you need to go, knowing that home is not what it was, but is now a new space. All of this is part of the energy that is welcoming you this particular week. If you are in real estate, okay, if you do that for a living, this can be a time when some very quick developments take place and agreements happen that do lead you in a direction of greater prosperity as well. But it will seemingly come out of nowhere. So either it'll be out of nowhere, you know, property shows up, sells the next day, or it could be that a property that you'd been sort of hanging on to for a little bit while, and then somebody, you know, calls and says, don't worry, I took care of that. Okay, I've done all that work, now what? But all in all, it looks like it's going to lead you in a positive direction, a direction of awareness, a direction of clarity as to what you're doing in terms of your profession. And that's only if you are working in real estate, but also for those in a home-based business as well. Home is going to be a pretty active space to be in right about now. And so given that, it does suggest that you'll be dealing with lots of new ideas, thinking about all the new things that you could put into place, that you can offer, and also welcoming in, very possibly, a whole new way of doing things. So this could be like a whole new computer system showing up for you as well. Could happen right around this particular new moon. In matters of heart, you know, as I said, if you're open to meeting somebody new, you know, tell your siblings or cousins or neighbors to just, you know, hold back a little second, that you're going to be okay on your own. If you are in an established bond, if you're getting to know somebody, there's lots of energy happening this week that does suggest that both people are going to be really busy, but that bond is being strengthened mainly by communication. And this is thanks to Jupiter and Pluto speaking, Mars in the mix as well. Talk it out, and that'll make the love that much stronger. Hello, fabulous Leo. This week we have got this very active new moon sort of at the center of everything, while Jupiter is speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto, and Mars is in the mix as well. So lots is happening now. This new moon, because it is the moon meeting the sun in the sky, is a new moon, will speak, and new moons in general, full moons to that matter to a certain extent, speak to you more strongly than they might to other signs out there. So the fact that this new moon is so active, right? The fact that Uranus is involved, the ruler of your opposite sign is involved in this, it does suggest that some very quick information might find you, quick news might find you. It might be that, especially if you're in an established bond, your partner might say something that just takes you off guard, that just sort of makes you go, oh, what did you just say? That maybe shocks you or surprises you. Now, there is a little bit of a moment of, okay, what does this mean? But then it seems to work out really well, because I am also seeing, because of Mars, Jupiter, Pluto, all that stuff happening there, it suggests that the money is there, there's abundance there, there's a feeling of abundance and prosperity. And also there should be work as well, work that feels meaningful, that feels like it's leading you towards greater wealth. So there should be some practical opportunities on that front. This is also a time when a quick agreement might come about. And so where it comes to your personal life, and especially in matters of heart, this can speak to developments with your spouse that first sort of take you a little bit off guard, and then you start to see the potential. You feel excited and happy about what could be ahead. For others of you out there, not in an established bond, not necessarily in a relationship, I think it's going to be a lot more about the money, a lot more about the work, and the happiness derived therein. We also see if you're just dating somebody, getting to know somebody, or you're open to meeting somebody new, Mars meeting Jupiter in the sky, these are the two ruling planets of the other fire signs in the sky. And so these two planets meeting do suggest an active philosophy on your part. So it does look like you're getting out there, you're meeting people, and you are taking the initiative. You are understanding that if love is going to happen for you, you've got to do something different. And that will lead you to trying some new things. Ultimately, I think they'll give you some really good stories, but the potential is there to make a very meaningful connection, like the kind of connection that leaves an impression, and a very strong and meaningful impression at that. Hello, fabulous Virgo. This week we have got this new moon happening. It's all about money right about now. And so this does suggest changes happening in terms of money that you're making, a surprise opportunity, a chance to start again where it comes to money that seemingly may come out of nowhere, possibly in a whole new way, possibly doing something that you haven't done before. What's really great about what's happening now also is that we do have Jupiter in your sign, speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto, Mars in your sign, energizing that particular Jupiter as well. So it looks like you see the potential. You see the possibility. You see how good things can be. You see that if you run with this, if you take a little bit of action, if you take inspiration, but also follow it through, that this can lead you to creating some really lasting positive impressions and lasting positive progress for yourself for a very long time to come. There's an element here that has to do with creativity. There's an element here that has to do with passion. And so if you get a chance to do something, now the money part, it might be a little bit up in the air, right? We've got Uranus involved. The money could go either way. But when it comes down to it, there's something about how doing something that you're passionate about creates prosperity in the bigger picture, prosperity on all kinds of levels, as opposed to doing something just for the money as well. So I think there's going to be a little bit of an evaluation on your part. If you've been working in a way or doing something that ultimately hasn't been feeling really rewarding, really energizing, this is going to be a time when you start to acknowledge that, and maybe even some practical steps forward start to manifest for you so you can move yourself in a direction that feels more true to you and what it is that you'd really like to do, what it is that's going to be more of a joy to do as a way of earning your money. Where it comes to love, well, you've got Venus in your sign right about now. And Venus in your sign is pretty active this week, speaking with Saturn, speaking with Neptune. Not the easiest conversations are taking place this week with Venus in your sign. So I will say this is not the week, certainly, with Neptune standing across Venus in your sign. Not the week for a makeover, not the week for any kind of plastic surgery, not the week to get a tattoo, anything permanent or that could be permanent, right? A drastic change, not the week to do that. Not even the week, I would say, again, Neptune and Venus sort of opposite each other. Not even a good week to like spend a lot of money on anything beautifying like spa treatments or cosmetics or clothing even. Just hold tight, because I think that next week, once we get you into next week, the energy will start to shift, will start to change. And from there on in, as Venus is moving through your sign, there will be sort of a golden window where you will be able to make some really, some changes that you really are going to like, that you are going to feel like, yes, I'm better than ever. And you feel like your charming best self is able to come forward. You can always bring your charming best self forward anyways. You don't necessarily need those external things. But where it comes to beautifying, hold back a little bit right about now. Wait a little bit right about now. I have a feeling as you start this week, you may think that you need something. You think you need some change or some procedure or that tattoo. And I know people who are like that, who are like, I got to get that tattoo right now. But just hold off a little bit in the early part of the week, because there might be this part of you that's really wanting and then feeling you can't have. That's not the reality. Of course, you can have. But you just want to pace yourself, time things a little bit better so that ultimately in the bigger picture you like the results, especially if it's something that is going to stay with you for some time. When it comes to matters of heart, Venus being in your sign, of course, goddess of love being in your sign, speaking with Saturn, speaking with Neptune, not a whole lot is going to be clear, okay? So there is value right about now in pacing yourself, okay? If it's love that you want or are hoping for, again, pacing yourself ultimately is going to be the thing that helps you the most to understand that sometimes love involves having to develop a little bit more to learn from each other and about each other. There might even be, especially if you're in a committed relationship, around the living arrangements, some uncertainty around that or some questions around that. It might be that you feel your partner isn't being very clear. Maybe they are, but it's just not coming across as very clear. So you are going to have to just, have your patience this week. Your ruling planet is speaking in harmony with Saturn. Have your patience in matters of love all around. This is going to be the thing that helps you most. If you are dating somebody, you might be getting some mixed signals right about now, not sure what to do about it. Might be thinking, is this really long-term? Is this somebody I really see myself with or not? If you are open to meeting somebody new, again, there might be some mixed messages happening, might be some lack of clarity happening as well. This energy will pass very, very soon. So give people sort of that benefit of the doubt, but also know that there's a time and a place for some stronger connections and clearer communications to happen. And those moments are coming up right around the corner. Hello, fabulous Libra. Well, it really is a party in your sign. Really, you've got this new moon happening. You've got Mercury in your sign. Big changes all around taking place for you. Now, some of those changes might be quiet. They might not readily be apparent to the people around you. And I specifically see this because of Jupiter in the sign just before yours. So yes, in a sense, you are beginning again. You're starting new things and you're having these realizations, and especially where it comes to other people you're partnered with, whether it's love or business, I think they may end up surprising you significantly right about now, making you look at yourself differently, which ultimately can be very good as long as you remember to look at yourself with loving eyes. But ultimately, I also think that this is going to lead you to sort of a private commitment, a private understanding of who it is that you want to be and how it is that you want to proceed. Keep in mind, if your birthday is this week, if it's birthday week for you, happy birthday. But if it is birthday week for you, then this energy of fresh beginnings, of, having these surprises of other people, your interactions with other people, awakening light bulbs, right? Like just sort of creating these moments of awareness that stay with you. That energy is actually going to define this coming year for you. So allow those awarenesses. Ultimately, those awarenesses will lead to truth. And what you're going to do about that truth will also slowly reveal, but it really does start within. So while you are having new beginnings and how you see yourself, it's almost like I'm also seeing, accompanying that, a more quiet change, a quiet commitment to what you will no longer accept in your life, who you no longer are, what direction it is you truly desire to go. All of this is being made clear to you, and you're committing to a much more loving path forward. So as I said, at least in the context of love, one-on-one relationships, the most surprising, okay? If you are just starting to get to know someone or you want to meet somebody new, so much of the focus really is on you. And so much of the focus is what's happening with you sort of behind the scenes. So you may meet somebody, you may have a reaction, And understand that it might not necessarily be about that connection that you're making with that person. It might be something that you need to see about yourself as you are in the act of connecting with another. That is meant to be the most meaningful for you. That is meant to serve as a catalyst for you for some very meaningful change, not only this week, but also in the period ahead, especially, as I said, if it's a happy birthday week for you. What takes place right about now, the sort of surprise element that is manifesting right about now, is actually going to define this coming year of your life. Hello, fabulous Scorpio. This week, we've got such an active sky, but for you, the most active thing is actually happening very much behind the scenes. We've got this new moon taking place, and it's happening in the sign just before yours, speaking with Uranus, as sort of a shock element, surprise element. Let me just say that this really looks like secrets coming out, okay? Now, these secrets are going to be those that it isn't necessarily that you are, divulging anything, but it really is what you are not seeing, or what you didn't want to look at, or even that part within you that you didn't want to acknowledge, that you've sort of been pushing away, some instinct, some intuition that's been telling you about your situation, about what needs to change, what needs to develop, where you need to change as well. All of that is going to come very much to the surface. It might involve another person. It might involve a work situation that actually ends up being sort of the catalyst for some of the more meaningful changes. But mostly it looks like you may very well surprise yourself by what you believe about yourself, about your life, and about love as well, and matters of heart as well. So pay attention to your environment, pay attention to what's happening and how you're interpreting it. And of course, pay attention to what you're saying. Your dreams are going to be super active right about now. And if you are looking to launch yourself in new directions where it comes to your work, your dreams are going to be the ticket that really show you the way. But what I do really love about this week as well is that your modern ruling planet is speaking in supreme harmony with your ancient ruling planet. And what that means is you will be feeling very much together. You will be feeling strong. You will be feeling like the best of you is present, and that you are present with the best of yourself. And there's very likely going to be a feeling that there are people with you, that there's support with you, that it's not like you're just sort of floating around by yourself, but that you have friends and people you can talk to. And it is one of those conversations that really is going to make a very big difference for you. Where it comes to love this week, this is not the week to to blur that line between friendship and love, okay? I think it'll end up just not going in good places. So even if a friend wants to set you up, I would say, let's wait till next week. Don't even start the text messages. I just feel like I'm seeing some Scorpios out there, like, okay, I'll talk to this person, why not? And, exchanging messages, and you come up with this whole image or picture in your mind, and then the reality ends up being really different. You being really surprised by that. So instead of going there, just hold off a little. That would be my advice. If you're in an established bond, I do think, again, be mindful of where, that line blurs between friend and love. Maybe not the best week to tell too much. I know that sometimes, when you really trust somebody and you feel like you could just tell them everything, that's awesome. But if it's your friend, not your therapist, if it's your friend, I would say hold back a little bit. No need to get into too many details right about now. It just looks like in the bigger picture, you might wish that you hadn't. So instead of getting into too much details about your relationships now, your love situation now, or the past situation as well, with the people that you know, just leave some of those details out and focus instead on all the other wonderful, interesting things that you have to talk about. Again, whether it's past, present, or what you're hoping to happen in the near future. And keep those first meetings, just put them off just a little bit, and I think you'll like the results that much better. Hello, fabulous Sagittarius. This week we have got your ruling planet Jupiter speaking in supreme harmony with Pluto, the first of 3 conversations. The next 2 are going to take place in the new year, And of course, I'll be here to talk about it then. But what we have happening this time is Mars. Mars is getting into the mix. So this is very exciting, Mars being into the mix of this particular celestial conversation. Because it suggests to me that as Mars is meeting your ruling planet, as your ruling planet is communicating with Pluto, you are making up your mind. You are deciding what has got to change and what is going to change and change right now. And your eye will be very much and most likely sort of focused on matters of career, and matters of money and how to bring those together, how it is that you can take a larger goal or promotion or achievement that you'd like to aim for, that you'd like to achieve, how it is that you can take that and make it something that creates real wealth and a real change in your financial situation. This really is a good time for you to consider interviewing somewhere, okay? So if you've been thinking about a promotion, this might be a good time. Like, I think the opportunity will seemingly come out of nowhere, where a friend tells you something, and or you're, among a group of people and you hear something and you realize, oh, there is an opportunity over there, and you will have a very quick moment to put in that request. But also a friend could tell you about a work-related opportunity, something that is joyous, something that will be more fun, isn't necessarily so monotonous. This is the time to really pay attention, because that could seemingly come out of nowhere, and one or two smart moves could certainly have you feeling and putting you in a whole other space, a space of empowerment and clarity and a real sense of direction and a real sense of purpose as well. So there's lots of forward momentum and forward movement happening with Jupiter particularly. And I think about the Jupiter special, those themes that I talked about there become so much more amplified this week for all of us, but especially for you, given that Jupiter is your ruling planet. So big success is promised and is planned coming up shortly. Now, for those of you who might not necessarily be thinking career front, this ends up being personal. This ends up being like understanding your purpose, your direction, a little bit more in terms of matters closer to the heart, closer to spirit. In matters of love, okay, so matters of heart, but love, because heart is so many things, right? It's spirit, it's soul, but then of course there's romantic love and all of that also associated with heart. So matters of love. If you are in if you're just kind of getting to know somebody, or you're open to meeting somebody new, I think this new moon is going to speak most to you in terms of just some very quick connections that could take place, quick realizations that might take place as well. But I look at this and it looks like a friend. Like a friend might tell you something, might divulge something, might give you another perspective that catches you a little bit off guard. And then where you're going to go with that is going to be up to you, because there's going to have to be a little bit of deciding the best way forward, deciding where it is and how it is you can create a greater sense of stability in your romantic situation. So be mindful of that. I look at this and I think I spoke about this at length for your sign for the monthly horoscope. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. Ultimately, you are the one who is in the relationship. You are the one who's going to decide what is best for you and what is best to pursue. But it might be a friend that's either telling you something that catches you off guard, of someone you're getting to know, or maybe somebody more meaningful to you, or it might be that a friend is very insistent on you meeting somebody, and then it's up to you to decide where it is that you're going to go with that. For those of you in an established bond, I actually think that given that the ruling planet of your opposite sign is so steady with Saturn this week as well as last week, right? So this is an energy that's holding. It does suggest that your partnership is holding. Your partnership is strong and steady and is staying in a place of support, and that you are feeling more and more safe and secure in the bond that you have. Hello, fabulous Capricorn. This week we have got all this energy happening in fellow Earth sign Virgo. This energy is saying, and there's this part of you that is feeling like you're ready to explore, you're ready for an adventure, you're ready to like sort of go off in new directions, figure out your place in the world. And also that there's going to be a part of you that is feeling very much motivated by a vision or a direction that is revealing itself to you now. Now, do keep in mind, though, we have this new moon taking place, and it does suggest some really quick changes in terms of bosses, in terms of advancements that you might be making as well, and in terms of opportunities that might be showing up for you as well. So while there is sort of this pull and this energy towards your career, a new opportunity might seem to come out of nowhere and surprise you right about now. Like, oh, you totally didn't see that coming. Might actually way bigger than you anticipated it to be. So stay open to that whole process, because this really could be the time of a big breakthrough and huge leaps forward in the matter of career. So what you want to do is that restless energy that might be there, that wants more experience, that wants, you know, an adventure, to figure out how to feed that part of you, right? And how to balance that part of you so that you are achieving something that matters to you, but at the same time, cultivating a real sense of possibility and a real sense of growth and a real sense of what could be ahead for you, and feeling like you are stepping up onto a bigger stage, whatever that proverbial stage would be for you. There is a real feeling now that you are stepping up, and it seems like a very comfortable and well-timed and very supportive move for you. Where it comes to matters of heart, we have Venus in fellow Earth sign, yes, but Venus is making all kinds of interesting conversations all across the board. To me, when I look at this and these particular conversations, it is conversations that are going to be downright confusing for you in matters of love. And especially when it comes to conversations with people who maybe don't share the same language or don't share the same culture, because it looks like you might have a romantic interaction if you're open to meeting someone new, or you're in an established bond, especially with somebody who is from a different background. This could be a time when those, you know, the cultural, that cultural difference could really have and lead to these different interpretations taking place. So my advice would be, give people, of course, the benefit of the doubt, but understand that there's going to be this part of you, I think, maybe a little bit suspicious, maybe a little bit wondering in terms of how things are playing out in love if you're meeting anybody new, or maybe just downright confused. So if you can, if you're, again, if it's new love, meeting someone new, then maybe just calm that energy. It's not going to be as much of a pressing priority, because any kind of interactions you now are only going to create greater confusion. Next week is a week of power and clarity and support. And it really is going to start a time for you next week that feels like something within you is being made that much more steady as well in the context of love. Something's going to resonate much more deeply and much more importantly. If you are in an established bond, not the time to have that really big talk and that really important conversation. Just save it for another time, another day. Focus instead on the larger goals that you have, and also that the two of you might have together as well, as a way to focus your energy and to move forward, so that once the time does come to have that conversation, you're saying the right words, you're saying what you mean, and it is being understood in the light that you desire it to. Hello, fabulous Aquarius. This week we have got this new moon happening right opposite your ruling planet. So right across your ruling planet, we've got this new moon taking place. Very active new moon, because your ruling planet's very active. And so this part of you that feels like you are ready for a new beginning. It's almost as if, you know, they say like Aquarians, it's a fixed sign. You'll stay a path, you'll stay true to it. But when you know you are done, when you are sure that you are done, it is like ripping off a Band-Aid. It is like, I am done, that is done and over. Whether it's matters of heart, matters of career, anything, any situation, friendship, matters of a job, all of that. When you know you're done, you know it. And so there's going to be this part of you ready for a bright beginning, ready for the next adventure, for the next thing, and really very possible right about now, having one of those moments when you say, you know what, forget this. Take this and shove it. Like that type of situation might come up for you right about now. Again, it's your ruling planet opposite a new moon. That new moon is in fellow air sign for you. So some very quick dramatic changes taking place on your part that make you feel like, you know what, I know where I'm done and I know where I'm going. And so some very quick developments could take place. You might be traveling very quickly or making travel plans early in the week as well. So you've got this eye and this understanding of money and prosperity, and you've got this really great ideas right now where it comes to what you can do to make real wealth and real money, not just see an increase in terms of your income, but also how it is and where it is that you can actually start putting your energy so that you're creating a real sense of wealth that is going to grow and prosper. So while we have that support happening for you, at the same time, we have that moment of clarity, that desire for adventure, that whole other perspective that is making you say, okay, I'm going over here now. Okay, thank you for this, but let's try this now. And I think it could lead you to a lot of joy and a lot of fun, because there's that part of you, as much as you're a fixed sign, there's a part of you that loves the quickness, that loves the unpredictability, and maybe even for some Aquarians out there that like a little bit of chaos once in a while as well, as a way to feel more in your element, as a way to feel more right at home with yourself. In the context of love, I do think that because this new moon is in an air sign, it could speak to matters of heart, certainly, but it has more to do with your values in love. And it might actually be love that ends up serving as the catalyst for the changes that you're making now, for the moves that you may be making. And maybe even you might make a heart connection with somebody and you're like, okay, that person lives on the other side of the world, I'm going, you know? Like I see some Aquarians doing that, and it might not surprise that many people. Because if you are that type of Aquarian, some Aquarians are very Saturnian oriented, some are more Uranian oriented. So what that means is some Aquarians, you know, just like the glyph, right? There's two waves. There's sort of it has a strong dichotomy to it. So some Aquarians tend to be much more Saturn, disciplined type of people. Others tend to be more on the mad genius side in varying degrees, which is the Uranus. So we've got these two different energies there. Depending on what kind you are, if you are known to be more on the side of Uranus, you will really not surprise too many people. If you're known to be more on the side of Saturn, then chances are your decisions and your changes will be a little bit more calculated, but still not that big a surprise to the people who you care about and are around you. So that's for new love taking you on an adventure, very possible now. But Venus in a part of the sky that really is about, you know, getting to the truth, getting to what's underneath. And so considering that Venus is in a part of the sky that wants the real experience and will not settle for the superficial, this is going to be an interesting time in love. There might be a little bit of confusion. There might be a little bit of uncertainty. It's almost like there's going to be a part of you that feels like, okay, I know what I want. I want the real thing. But now what does that look like? And it might not necessarily feel comfortable for you because there's a part of you that likes to maintain a sense of self, even in the context of love and partnership. But for others of you in an established bond, be mindful if you're trying to create any kind of financial plans with your partner, maybe save it for next week. So don't dive into it and make those plans this week, because those plans will change. Wait until next week. Things will fall into place much more nicely. If you are looking to a partner to create greater wealth together, to do some project together, wait till next week. And that's when things can really solidify. A strong plan can come together very nicely that has a lot of legs to create a tremendous amount of prosperity all around. Hello, fabulous Pisces. This week we have got Venus standing across your ruling planet in the sky and your ancient ruling planet, having a meeting with Mars, speaking with Pluto. So it's very interesting as I look at this. I think love and partnership is going to be the big focus this week. Yes, we do have a new moon happening as well. And this particular new moon is speaking to matters that have to do with finances, matters that have to do with what we call other people's money. So there might be a little bit of quick turnarounds, quick changes, very quick action required. If you're trying to get a loan and then it came through, they might contact you and say, wait a minute, we need this paperwork, we need this. So you might be feeling like you're hustling a little bit to secure some funding for yourself. But for all that, It can also be that some money just kind of shows up for you. Oh, I didn't realize I could access funds in this place. So pay attention to your life right now. It does look like either a really great money-making idea can show up, or it just might be that the universe will have you having to take a little bit of a step back, or in Mercury shadow, having to take a little bit of a step back and make sure that all those requests or applications or considerations that you had about where you could access money are put together properly, are put together nicely to your advantage. When it comes to matters of heart, as I said, I think this week is going to be a lot about partnership and a lot about love. It could be a business partnership, sure, but most of you are going to experience this in matters of heart or in addition to business and matters of heart as well. For some of you, and especially those of you in an established bond, it's going to be the most powerful time because this is about you looking at the needs of your partner, looking at where it is that you might feel that your partner either is holding back or maybe is being a little bit demanding, you feeling maybe not so clear what's really going on here. And at the same time, there's a real sense of a deepening commitment as well and a real sense of change in the air. So for some of you, this is going to be a deepening of that commitment. For others of you, if you're in a relationship and you know it's not the right relationship for you, this is going to be when you get more clear about that with each other with a lot of love. I would still advise, let the clarity start with you, okay? Let the clarity start with you because with Venus doing all kinds of things, it might raise some issues or some questions that might not be very close to the truth. So what you want is a more grounded perspective. What you want is a perspective ultimately that really helps you clarify the direction in which the two of you are going and the direction in which you are going in love so you can understand if this person is a part of it or not. So strive to be patient, right? And at the same time knowing that you're changing and something within you is changing and what you need from love is changing as well. And you'll know if this person is meant to go further with you on the ride or not. If you are getting to know somebody or you are open to meeting somebody new, love is this very interesting space for you right about now. Lots of mixed messages happening. Of all the signs to get really mixed messages in love, I think it would be you. And yet there's hope, and yet there's faith, and yet there's direction. And so cherish that, okay? Friends right now can be very helpful in the context of love to help you understand, or even for friends to become love, possibility right about now as well. But even if friends serve as a catalyst for you to get clear as to what you're looking for in love, understand that this is just part of many months ahead where you're going to be learning some very valuable lessons in love and matters of heart. And I think that this week is going to serve as one of those points, one of those turning points, if you will, where you started to understand what it was that you really wanted, what it was that you really deserved, and how it was that you were going to go about getting it. Well, I will stop there. Thank you so much to all signs out there. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.